Welcome again into my video class. Hope you have all gone through the first part of this discussion. I was discussing the set relation. So this is the part 2, continuation of the first part. So before proceeding further, we should first mention one mistake I have done, little mistake in the first part. When I was describing the geometrical sets, that is the set of straight lines, set of triangles on a plane, so I described them as non-mathematical. This was a mistake, so it should be non-numerical. Okay, it is obviously mathematical, all geometrical objects are obviously mathematical, but they are not numerical. So actually I wanted to say not non-numerical, so mistakenly I said non-mathematical. Please rectify this thing. Okay, let's go with the second part of the set relation. Okay, here we start with the congruence relation. This is one of the, we will show that this is one equivalence relation that can be defined on the set of integers. Congruence relation among the integers. So the value of the set is z. That means the integers including 0, negative and positive integers. Okay. So congruence relation. This means, let us define this first. Two integers a, b are said to be congruent to each other if both leave the same remainder when divided by a fixed integer, say m. Basically, this congruent, the dictionary meaning of congruent is identical. Okay, you should be familiar with this word congruent. So at your 9-10 level, when you studied geometry, there was a concept of congruent triangle. Okay, so this triangle is, one triangle is congruent to other, means they are just identical. Now here we are saying the two integers are identical in terms of the remainder. Okay, don't confuse, the integers are not same, they are different, but they are congruent in the sense that both of them leave the same remainder when divided by a fixed integer, say m. Just I am taking example. Let m is equal to say 5. So I take a fixed m 5. Now suppose I divide 12 with 5, it will give you the remainder 2. 5 2s are 10 and 2. And again if I divide 17, so it will give you the remainder again 2. 5 3s are 15, 2. That means this 12 and 17 are congruent to each other in terms of the remainder. They produce the same remainder when divided by a fixed number a. So we define AB are congruent with respect to the divider m. Then we say, we write this way, this phenomena is written in this way. When A are congruent to B, we write A is triple equal to, that is, it is read in this way, A is congruent to B mod M. Okay, A is congruent to B mod M. This basically means, suppose A is divided with M, so suppose the quotient is Q1 and the remainder is R. Similarly, when B is divided with M, suppose the quotient is Q2, obviously we are talking about integer division only. So all these remainders should be positive integer. So Q2m plus, according to the Euclidean division algorithm, this R should be less than equal to A, less than A and positive. So Q2m plus R. So there both of them are producing the same remainder when divided with m. So this means A are congruent to B. And in some other way I can write, if I subtract the first relation from the second, I can have A minus B is equal to m into Q1 minus Q2 plus R1 minus R2. So Q1, Q2 are integers, so Q1 minus Q2 will be another integer, R1 minus R2 will be another integer. So I write this is as m into Q dash plus R dash. Sorry, this R1 R2 will be same R. So this should be 0, R1 minus R1, so that should be 0. So this should be R dash will be simply 0. That means A minus B, this integer, this new integer is divisible by m. So it also comes out that whenever A is congruent to B, we have A minus B is divisible by m. Okay. Now we can show that this congruence relation among the integers is an equivalence relation. Okay. How this can be shown? This is very simple to show that the congruence relation is an equivalence relation. So if you can remember what is equivalence relation? Equivalence relation is one which satisfies the reflexive, symmetric and transitive properties. Okay. So we have to show that this relation A is congruent. So A rho B, A is related to B if A is congruent to B mod A. This is our relation. When AB are integers taken from the capital J. So this is our relation. Now first we check R, reflexive. Okay. So A rho A, that is if A is congruent to A mod A. So it is obviously true because A minus A is always divisible by M, or whenever A will be divided with M, that will obviously produce the remainder A. So it is obviously true. So reflexivity is satisfied. A rho A holds. Okay. For all A. True for all A. Second one is symmetry. So symmetric means if A rho B holds, then what we get? This implies A is congruent to B mod M. That means A minus B is divisible by M. This means B minus A, that is equal to minus of A minus B, is also divisible by M. Okay, suppose A is 5, suppose A is say 15 and B is 25. So 15 minus 25 is minus 10, that is divisible by 5, say M is 5. So obviously B minus A, that is 25 minus 15, that is 10, that will be also divisible by 5. Whenever A minus B is divisible by 5, B minus B will be also divisible by 5. So whenever A rho B holds, this will imply B rho A will also hold. That means, that is, B is congruent to A mod A. Okay. And finally we show the transitive property. So this means if A rho B holds and B rho C holds, then we have to show A rho C holds. Okay, so A rho B holds means this gives us A is congruent to B mod N and B is congruent to C mod N. That means we can write a minus b is divisible by m, obviously from the definition, and also b minus c is divisible by m. So both of them implies, if I add these two things, that will obviously give you a minus b plus b minus c, that is a minus c is divisible by m, divisible by m. Okay, I hope this is clear to you. A minus b is an integer which is divisible by m, b minus c another integer which is divisible by m. So addition of these two integers will be always divisible by m. That means a minus c is divisible by m. This implies a rho c also hold. A rho c also holds. So whenever a rho b holds, b rho c holds, a rho c will also hold. That means we are able to prove that this congruence relation among the integers is an RST relation. RST relation. Okay. So what is the effect if I impose this relation on the set capital J? A very interesting thing takes place. Okay. So let us discuss this thing. What happens when congruence relation is imposed on the set of integers? Tell me, if I divide any integer, I am talking about Euclidean division, that means when a is divided by b, what is the algorithm? Euclidean algorithm. If a is divided by b and q is quotient and r is remainder, then 0 less than equal to r less than mod b. So r is not taken to be negative, r will be always positive. So r will be either 0 when a is divisible by b, or otherwise r will be a number within 0 to mod b, less than mod b. Okay. So by following this is the Euclidean algorithm of division, integer division. So if I divide any number with say m equal to 5, so my divisor is 5. So what are the possible remainders? The remainders are 0 when the particular integer is divisible by m by 5, suppose 10, suppose 20, they are divisible by m, so 0. Okay. And when the remainder is 1, the remainder can be 2, the remainder can be 3, remainder can be 4. If the remainder is 5, that means we can divide again the number once again by 5, and ultimately the remainder will be 0. If the remainder is 6, it is equivalent to saying the remainder is 1. Okay, we all know that. So these are the possible different remainder which may be produced on dividing any integer by 5. Okay, then let us list the integers. Let us list the integers which are congruent to this 0. That means those which will produce all 0 remainder. So let us write this thing. So 0 itself is a member of this 0 remainder class. Then 5, 10, 15 this way, and there will be minus 5, minus 10, minus 50 this way. It will continue. So these are the integers. So let us call it a class, and the class is denoted by 0 bar. So 0 bar is the class of integers which will contain all the integers which are divisible and produce 0 remainder when divided by m. Now what will be the class 1? So obviously 1 itself the first member, then 6, then 11, then 16, and here that will be minus 4. Okay, this requires some clarification. Let us divide it. So minus 4 is divided by 5. So what is our criterion? R cannot be negative. R is a number within 0 and mod b. So mod 5. That means 5 minus 1 is a quotient may be then negative. So 5 minus 1 is a minus 5 and this is plus 1. So this way this is the Euclidean division. So according to this it is minus 4, then minus 9, minus 14 this way, and this will be 16. Okay, let it be denoted by 1 bar. Similarly, if you go on dividing this way and listing the integers, we get 2 bar as 2, 7, 12, etc. And here minus 3, minus 8, minus 13, etc. This is 2 bar, then 3 bar, that is 3, 8, 13, and that will be minus 2 and minus 7, minus 12, etc. This will be 3 bar, and finally 4 bar is 4, then 9, then 14, and that will be minus 1, minus 6, minus 11, this one. So this will be the 4 bar. Now, a very interesting phenomenon has happened here. If you look at this list carefully, you will see that every class is disjoint to the other classes. So no two elements are common in the classes. Okay. So the 0 bar is having its own elements, and none of them is appearing in the other classes. The 1 bar is having its own elements and none of them is appearing in the other classes. That means this congruence relation, when I impose a congruence relation on the set, the effect is, so these lists are mutually disjoint lists, and when the congruent relation is imposed on the set of integers, the effect is it actually decomposes the entire set Z. The entire set Z is decomposed into some mutually disjoint subsets, and each of the class, we denote it by class, will be giving us the same remainder when divided with a fixed number 5. Okay. That means it is just like an additive partition of the integers, additive partition of the thing. So rigorous proof is not possible, but I can tell you. Okay, again in the next I will discuss the number of equivalence relation and number of relation first. First we will derive the number of relation, then number of equivalence relation for a given set. Okay. In the introductory lecture, if you have gone through that lecture, where I introduced the concept of relation, so I told that if A is a set having n number of elements, this is denoted by mod A, is a measure of A, that is the A containing n number of elements, and B is a set containing m number of elements, then the Cartesian product A cross B will have m into n number of ordered pairs. Okay, so this set will look like this A comma B, where A belongs to A and capital A, B belongs to capital B, and the measure of A cross B is equal to m into n. In particular, if we set B equal to A, that means we are we are taking the Cartesian product of the set, the members with itself. Okay, so B equal to A, then A cross A is equal to n square. Now these are the all possible number of Cartesian products that can be found from the two sets A and B. Now let us calculate the total number of total number of relations that can be constructed from the set A and B. So A to B a relation f where y equal to fx. So how many such relations are possible? So simply the relation, what I tell you, I have already defined relation as a subset of A cross B. So a relation rho will contain some ordered elements, some ordered pairs from this A cross B. Okay. So that means the total number relation is just equal to the total number of subsets that we can construct, that we can obtain from the Cartesian product set A cross B. Okay, so how many subsets that can be constructed from A cross B? That is called, as you know that, suppose A is a set having 3 elements A, B, C, then how many subsets are possible? Taking no element at a time. So this can be done in one way only, taking just 0 elements at a time, and this is actually denoted by 3C0, and then taking one element at a time, I can take A, I can take B or C. So 3 ways, that is 3C1. Actually I am taking the subset, all possible ways. Okay, 3C0, 3C1, was taking 2 elements at a time, A, B, AC, BC. So 3C2, and this will, and finally taking all the elements at a time, that is taking A itself, 3C3, and this I know is equal to 2 to the power 3. So in general, this is what is this? This is the total number of possible subsets that can be formed, that we constructed out of these 3 elements of A. So in general, when the measure of A is n, then this is called the total number of subsets. A also form a set that is called power set of A. This is the set of all subsets of A, and the measure of this set is 2 to the power n. So measure of this set is 2 to the power n. So obviously the measure of Cartesian product of A cross B, that will be 2 to the power m into n, because there are mn number of possible ordered pairs. So by taking 1 at a time, 2 at a time, 3 at a time, how many subsets can be found? 2 to the power mn number of subsets. Or if when B equal to A, then this measure of this power set is equal to 2 to the power n square. So this is the required number of relations that can be found, that can be obtained out of this sets A and B. Okay. And finally, we will derive one expression for total number of equivalent relation. What is that? It is the total number of relations possible out of this set AB, and how many of them will be equivalent. This also can be found. The detailed rigorous proof is not possible. It is not. This is out of the scope of the syllabus, but I can give you the result. The total number of RST relation, RST or equivalent relation on A. Suppose A to A I am considering A to A is the number of additive partitions possible for n, where n is the measure of n. So if A has n number of elements, then A to A cross A, this Cartesian product, from that we can find the number of equivalent relations. The number of equivalent relation will be the total number of additive partitions of n. Okay, an example is, suppose n equal to trivially 1, then it will be obviously 1. It is a trivial case. One element can give you only one relation, and n equal to 2. So this can give you total number of partition 2 and 1 plus 1. So that is 2. So the total number of equivalent relation is 2. When n equal to 3, this can be 3, 2 plus 1, 1 plus 1 plus 1. So total number of given relation is 3. This is something related with the disjoint partition of the integers. Okay. And n equal to 4. This should be 4. Then 2 plus 2. Then 2 plus 1 plus 1 and 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 equal to 4. So this way, sorry, there will be another comma 3 plus 1. 3 plus 1, so total number is 5. So if the number of set is having 4 elements, the number of equivalent relation is possible is 5. Okay. If the number of set is having 3 elements A, then the equivalent relation on the member of A itself is 3. Okay. This way we can calculate the number of given relation for a set, finite set having n number of elements. Okay. Well, thank you.